Okay, so I made a video about the PvE rotation for the spear, but I think it was kind of messy, a little bit rushed. So maybe I can do a little bit better today, maybe a bit more of a explanation. Alrighty, so I got a question about best items. Now I think what I'm using might not be the best, but it definitely gets the job done. I can do the dummy in about a minute and 20 seconds, a minute 30 seconds if I'm slow. But I think the 2 times Transcendence and 2 times Imperial is alright. I don't think building crit and heavy for PvE is the right choice. From what I've seen, most people build a lot of skill damage boost, but this definitely works. So if you're more into PvP like me, you don't really need to make a second set just for PvE. Just learn your rotation. There are probably better options for daggers, like the Destiny Binders, I believe is the name, because they have species damage boost and wisdom, which is pretty good for your PvE damage improvement, I suppose, and critical hit, I suppose, also works a little bit. So those could be nice, but then again, I don't really care that much. For artifacts, if I do Gate of Infinity, I use the base damage boost artifact if it's applicable. For some content, it doesn't really work. Most content actually doesn't work, so instead I will just use the Abyssal Beast. The Plains Ravager is probably the best for PvE unless somebody can give me any better information, but for now this is what I've been using, and 4 pieces of the Chaos Harbinger. And then let's have a look. Masteries, these are basically PvP masteries. Well, PvP, PvE, I think this is pretty standard. This tree over here, all of the damage masteries taken. Same on the daggers. The mastery that gives you stats over here is pretty good. Falling Flower, Lightning, Time Bomb. Time Bomb for PvP. Sometimes I swap with Dragon Ascent. For PvE, definitely Dragon Ascent instead. I think it's a must. And then for Guardians, I always use this Lady Knight Camarcia. I never change her. For PvE and PvP, I basically haven't changed her since the game came out. For skills in PvE, I use this kind of setup and these kind of passives. I don't swap these passives for a single target or AoE. They stay the same. I never swap my passives. And let me just leave this real quick. And for skills specialization, I use these on the daggers, but this is more for purely Gate of Infinity. If I was to go into a raid, I would use these and then just swap my... Let me just swap my skills over here, not this, and I think there was one more, but I'm kind of blanking out. Oh yes, this one over here. So these are the skills I would use for single target PvE like in a raid. These are the daggers. For PvE it's almost the same, with the difference that I don't use the Phoenix Barrage for single target on PvE, I use it on AoE. And on AoE, I focus more on the Javelin Inferno throwing. I'm basically using a very similar spec to what I use in PvP for PvE. So I stack up my Inferno with the fire skill and then I just throw, you know. That's basically speed gameplay, just throw and throw and throw. But for single target, this is what I use, basically. And the rotation, is very similar to what I explained yesterday. It's basically the same, but I think I can maybe explain in a little bit more detail. It's all about timing, really. Sometimes it's better to just let your skills sit. Don't just click any skill you can at all times. You need to do your combo. I think combos on spear are the key to success. If you don't have your combo ready, you shouldn't use your skill, I believe. So what I mean by that, so let's say I start my rotation and I use these skills. Okay, and now my skills are coming back from cooldown, and I could use, let's say, well, now actually this is good, so I can do this. Now I could do that because it came back from cooldown, but now what I would do, you need to work on your ignite fire stacks. Right now I could use this, but it's a waste. That was a waste because the dummy did not have any ignite stacks on it. The way this skill works is you do more damage if the target has burst stacks, if the target is ignited. So there's a difference between this, right? And let's wait for it to come back from cooldown. Just a quick demonstration. And between this and now, big difference. So this is what I mean when I talk about letting your skills come back from cooldowns and waiting for your proper burst window to open. Don't just click any skills you can. Wait for your proper combo, and your combo should always be this into this, and then this, and then this. This is what I do. Now this might not be the most ideal combo. I'm not an expert, but this is what I use, and this is what I use to do the hard raid so far, and all of the PvE content really. And this is what I will use in the future probably too. So again, our rotation should look something like this. Now from here we would go into this, and so on and so on, and you just keep repeating the same rotation. Just make sure to apply your skills accordingly. Keep in mind your buffs, keep in mind what each skill does. You don't want to apply the stigma and then do no damage. You want to do as much damage as possible when the stigma is on the target, basically. So the stigma should go on. Let's say I put the stigma on the target, and then I do this, and so on and so on. We want the stigma to explode for as much damage as possible, and that's basically really it. These are the kind of statistics that I have for PvE. The gear, again, the gear is not ideal. You don't want hate. You don't want hate for PvE. I have so much hate. It's kind of pointless. If this was a pure PvE spec, you would need a lot more species damage boost and way more cooldown, way more attack speed. For PvE you need about 50% cooldown, 60 above 65% attack speed. That would be ideal, but again, this is more like a PvP gear, not really PvE. And yeah, the skills are as shown. You don't need the raid spear. I did quite decent with the Crimson Spear, so you don't really need that. And then masteries, as I mentioned before, and then the artifacts, just like these. But then again, these might not be the best. Maybe you could get better ones. I am not really sure, but this definitely works for me. So I think it could work for you too. So if you have any more questions, hit me up and I'll see what I can do.